This is one of the most insane stories about a pool party ripping a neighborhood in half. And this happened in Gaithersburg, Maryland. And I'll let one of the people who lives nearby where these pool parties are going on describe what she's seen.
Drinking, littering, peeing, defecating. We have people that are just screaming at the owners. We live here. I mean, my neighbor's dog ate a condom this morning. So is that something you want your children to deal with?
Now, the story says a group of homeowners say their neighbor is throwing wild pool parties on their quiet street and they're feeling unsafe. They said they called the police, but there's not much the cops can do because the guy gets everybody out of this house at 9 p.m. But all the neighbors are recording this and there's just chaos going on this street. Here's another one of the neighbors speaking up.
It was just mayhem. I didn't know where to look first because there was just so much activity going on in every single direction.
Now, what's crazy is our intrepid reporter friend is going to visit this hard partying neighbor in just a second, and the sparks start to fly, so don't miss that. But this was a real deal party. Like, buses were coming in. There was allegedly tickets sold, though the neighbor denies this. And it was just mayhem with security and everything.
Pictures and videos show dozens arriving by bus in what looks like armed security at the driveway. And these homeowners say it makes them fear for their safety and they don't know what to do.
As the night progressed, just more drunken, disgusting behavior. People being impatient because they wanted to get in quicker, so they're driving up on people's properties, like across lawns.
They say they've called the cops, but police tell them there's not much they can do because the parties wrap up before 9 p.m.
And so the neighbors are obviously pissed at this on account of dogs eating condoms, people doing God knows what in public, a lot of drinking going on. And the cops are they have their hands tied behind their back here. Local cops say there's not a lot that they can do as of yet, but they're trying.
With these parties, right now, we're in the preliminary stages of figuring out what has been violated, if anything, while still being able to afford the homeowners the ability to host people within reason. We really just want them to know that the police are trying. However, this does take a little bit of time.
All right, junkies, now to the fun stuff. The reporter for Channel 4, the NBC affiliate, goes over to the dude's house who is throwing these parties. And it gets wild. He calls the reporter racist. All kinds of things go down. And kudos to the reporter for doing a good job. And he stayed there for a long time talking to this guy. Watch.
We're here about the parties this weekend. Do you mind if we ask you a couple questions? So we went next door to talk to their neighbor, Eric Tattoo, to get his side of the story.
When you have a party in your house, the county does not specify the number of people you have on your property. My neighbors, they also have parties.
Tattoo says the parties are part of his culture and he isn't breaking the law. And as we asked about those parties and the complaints of his neighbors, let's just say the conversation took a few turns.
So you guys are so racist, so stereotypical.
So now I'm racist?
I want to believe so.
They feel unsafe. Your response to that?
Can I say that you are a very biased journalist?
How am I biased? I'm asking you a
so
question.
you come like you've been hired and bribed and paid by my neighbors to drive a narrative, to drive a conspiracy.
So now he's calling the reporter, who's black, by the way, racist. And he's saying it's a grand conspiracy. The journalist has been hired by the neighbors and all of these excuses. It's part of his culture. It's just living next to this must be an absolute abject nightmare. And the reporter, our hero on the scene, fights through and keeps asking the tough questions.
So this is my question again. I'll ask you again. If your neighbors are saying this is happening, are you acknowledging that that's happening or you're denying that that's happening?
Well,
this is a simple question.
Listen, I have parties. I have the right to have parties. I respect the noise ordinance. I respect the cutoff time, which is 9 p.m. You've been paid by my neighbors to do this.
I have not been paid.
And this argument with the reporter keeps going and going and going and going and going. It gets dark outside.
I can take responsibility for certain things, but I will not take responsibility for the things I didn't do. And if I have an idea that my neighbors feel unsafe, I have to understand the specific things that make them unsafe.
And Tattoo says until he sees video of all the bad behavior his neighbors are alleging, it's party on.
My absolute favorite line. It's party on for him. What would you do if this was your neighbor? Like, what would you do in this situation? Would you lawyer up and try to go after this guy? Would you just mind your own business and let the parties happen? Sure, there's some condoms on the ground outside. There's sex happening outside. People are drunk everywhere and driving on your lawn, but at least they're leaving by 9 p.m. Let me know what you think. And if you want more viral news like this, please do subscribe to the channel.